Powerful Dharma practice really doesn't have anything to do with practicing in a temple or practicing in a Dharma center or practicing sitting on a cushion somewhere. But really powerful Dharma practice happens when we're, quote unquote, in the hot seat with other people. So, could everyone just turn your radios down a little? Yours off? Okay. So who's never come to meditation? Yeah. Okay, one. So I just want to take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Justin. I'm the chaplain for staff. I'm the only chaplain for all the staff, and I run this group usually on Wednesdays. If you could just turn your radio down. So meditation is a really powerful way of learning how to learn more about ourselves and learn more about how we relate to all these things. And then bring that light down from the base of your skull to your neck. Growing up, my parents, I think that they kind of began to drift away from their faith and experimented quite a bit. And so I grew up in a very eclectic household. You know, as I was growing up, I was actually always very drawn to spirituality. And in high school, somehow I landed on Tibetan Buddhism. So I came to chaplaincy in general as a way of bridging my, faith tradition and my spiritual practice with right livelihood. I'm at this point, the only chaplain for staff. So for Department of Correction, we have about 10,000 officers and about 3,000 civilian staff. Once or twice a month, there'll be something in the middle of the night, I'll need to attend to. I keep the phone, by my head, on the nightstand when I'm sleeping. I realize it sounds like a lot, but actually it's two things. It's a privilege to be able to, be on call in this way, and I find it also makes a tremendous amount of difference for people when they know that there are people who are going to be there when they, have need. We value our individuality, and we value the sense of just, me and mine, so me and my family just doing whatever it is that we want to do. In this particular case, I have a commitment, to 13,000 people in addition to my family.
Oh. We'll get dressed in a minute, Marky, okay?
Oh, yeah. Well, do you remember that story? What was the story about? Remember that I made up? What? Remember the mayor had these special things? Uh-oh. This is a work thing. Hey, Chaplain Justin.
Chaplain.
Okay, hold on. Let me just take this. I recently, had a health scare, and I actually thought I was having a heart attack. Thankfully, that wasn't the case. But what it turned out to be was I overextended myself.
He was saying he had chest pains. He didn't know why. He didn't know where it was coming from. There was no sort of precipitating event. It wasn't even a particularly stressful day that he had had the day or two before, but that's really all we can attribute that to is stress and anxiety and rushing around and trying to be multiple places at once.
To not do the work, especially 24 hours, would not feel wouldn't feel appropriate, right? I would feel like I was losing part of myself. And in a way, it ends up being kind of, a form of Dharma practice in and of itself, to just be always available.
Sitting on a cushion with a set of mala beads does not make me a Buddhist. And that when I see suffering, if I just go, oh, but I don't do anything about it, is not compassionate. Compassion is what I do about that suffering. And then you encounter a teacher like Justin, who is fully engaged and inspires you by his example.
I serve as a traditional Dharma teacher. I teach meditation, I teach ritual, And then, what I'm more interested in, though, is the interface between practice and life. Practice of Chi is directly related to compassionate action in the sense that here I am, I'm offering myself. May this offering of me satiate you. So similarly, the practice of generosity, of giving all of my activities to be able to help others. And then especially in these places of darkness, places of fear, of anxiety, of loss, of terror, of trauma, of hardship. May I be able to enter into these places and provide generous, compassionate action so that others may benefit. I definitely have, 2 feet both in different worlds. One is the world of, my family life and my personal life, and the other is really in the lives and in relationship to the lives of all the people I serve. At the end of the day, if we're really going to call ourselves Buddhists, and if we're really going to act from a place of Dharma, then we really need to give fully, right? Give with joy, right? And that is really hard to do. In my heart, I want to slow down, but I probably won't.
I think what my dad does and helping other people, giving them emotional and spiritual support, that's not something that everyone does. And so I think people like my dad, there could definitely be more in the world. I think that would definitely help out in a bigger picture.
There was an article in Tricycle magazine where one of the, I think, deputy wardens was interviewed at Rikers, and her comment about Justin was that what you get is love. And that's it. That's what he is. They refer to him as the gentle giant.
The stakes are a lot higher because it's a prison, and it's a very high-profile prison where sometimes it feels like everyone's waiting for them to fail, or everyone's kind of watching. The press is poised and ready to write the next story about how terrible Rikers Island is, and so it's a lot of pressure.
There's no better place to be working with the shadow, I guess you could say, of New York City. The sense that the whole world is going on outside. All the airplanes we hear, because we're close to LaGuardia, the people are coming and going. But people who are here are here. Everywhere we are, every single moment, every single place, whether or not it seems holy or not holy, whether it's sacred or profane or ordinary, is a place of practice. It's a place of immense energy. The New York City Department of Corrections motto is New York's boldest. And in a way, venturing into charnel grounds really requires Dharma practitioners to be Buddha's boldest, to really step into or lean into the things that are the hardest for us to really deal with. It's the immediacy, it's the freshness, it's the moment, the power of the moment.